Welcome, friend. I'm James, your host, and today, we're diving into another captivating episode. Grab a drink, get comfortable, and get ready for a powerful story that's sure to resonate. If something hits home, share your thoughts in the comments. Let's dive in. TIFU by not being able to explain to my wife the existence of a dress that wasn't hers in the wash. Friends, let me take you on a wild ride through the chaos of my life in Los Angeles, a place where sunshine and palm trees can't mask the impending doom of marital disaster. This city is often portrayed as a paradise, filled with glitz, glamour, and perfect lives, but behind the scenes, it can be just as tumultuous as any reality show. My own life, which seemed perfectly in sync that day, was about to plunge into a pit of confusion and panic. This is not just another oops moment. This was a full-blown crisis, and I was at ground zero, facing the storm of my own making. So, it all began on a seemingly ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I had just settled into the couch, the warm glow of the California sun spilling through the window, bathing the room in a golden hue, a half-finished cup of coffee perched precariously on the table beside me. The gentle hum of the city outside mixed with the muffled sounds of my favorite show playing in the background. Life was good, or so I thought. The vibrant city buzzed with energy, people rushing about, cars honking, and laughter echoing from nearby cafes. Little did I know that my seemingly peaceful day was about to spiral into chaos, and I would soon find myself scrambling for answers in a rapidly deteriorating situation. It was one of those rare days when I had the house to myself, a fleeting moment of tranquility in our otherwise bustling lives. I was looking forward to some much-needed downtime, a break from the demands of work and parenting. As I settled in, I thought about what to make for dinner later, maybe something special for my wife and our little one. Perhaps I could whip up her favorite dish, something that would surely bring smiles and laughter back into our home. But little did I know that this idyllic afternoon was on the verge of unraveling into a dramatic scene that would test the very foundations of my marriage. Suddenly, the door swung open with the force of a summer storm, and in walked my wife, 40F, her expression a mix of disbelief and anger. She held an unknown dress aloft like it was evidence of a crime scene, vibrant red, a daring cut that hugged every curve, and a fabric that practically shimmered under the sunlight. The sight of it sent a jolt through me, my heart dropping into my stomach like a lead weight. How could this be? My mind raced with 1,000 scenarios, each more disastrous than the last. The bold color and stylish design screamed seduction and secrets, and I felt myself being pulled into an emotional whirlwind that threatened to consume me. The juxtaposition of her fury and the dress's allure was overwhelming. It was as if I was standing in the eye of a hurricane, and the winds of chaos were swirling all around me. I knew I was in deep trouble, and every instinct in my body screamed at me to find a way out. Wife, where did this dress come from? The question hung in the air, thick with tension, each word dripping with potential catastrophe. Me, it's not yours? I managed to stammer, my mind racing like a hamster on a wheel, searching for an escape route. Her laughter, light but laced with venom, cut through the room like a knife. I know my own dresses. Her voice was teasing, yet those brown eyes held a fire that sent chills down my spine. I could see the gears turning in her mind, calculating every possible betrayal, and in that moment, I felt like a cornered animal, desperate to escape the inevitable reckoning. I could sense that she was on the verge of a deep-seated confrontation, and I was trapped, my heart pounding in my chest like a war drum, signaling the impending doom that awaited me. In that instant, I knew I was treading in dangerous waters. My heart pounded as I struggled to conjure a response. The specter of suspicion loomed large, and even though I was innocent, the evidence in front of me painted a different picture. I felt the walls closing. The air thick with tension as I realized I was standing at the precipice of a marital crisis, one that could potentially fracture the bond we had built over the years. I could almost hear the clock ticking down, each second intensifying the sense of dread that wrapped around me like a suffocating blanket. What had once been an ordinary day now felt like a high-stakes game, where every wrong answer could lead to catastrophic consequences. My thoughts tumbled over one another, each more outlandish than the last, as I struggled to maintain my composure. I have no idea. Those words felt like a boulder rolling downhill, gaining speed, and I was helpless to stop it. I was floundering, desperately trying to come up with an explanation that wouldn't land me in the doghouse, or worse, in divorce court. My mind raced through every possible scenario. Was it a friend's dress? A random fling? All the while, the heat from her gaze bore down on me, amplifying the panic and fear coursing through my veins. I could feel the weight of my own mistakes pressing down, the pressure building like a volcano ready to erupt. My thoughts tumbled over one another, each more outlandish than the last, as I struggled to maintain my composure. With every glance at the dress, my imagination spiraled further into a dark abyss of imagined infidelities and accusations. To buy myself some time, I blurted out, "What size is it?" A colossal mistake. It was clearly not her size. The panic swelled in my chest, tightening like a vice grip. I was on the verge of hyperventilating. In a moment of sheer desperation, I threw out a wild theory. Maybe it was from daycare and got mixed up with our kids, 3M, laundry. I knew that was a stretch. Hell, even I didn't believe it. No one had been to our house in 2 years, but I was grasping at straws, aware that every second we spent unraveling this mystery drew me closer to my own doom. The seconds dragged on, each tick of the clock amplifying my anxiety. The weight of the dress in her hand becoming a symbol of my impending demise. As I glanced around the room, I could almost see the shadows of past arguments lurking, whispering doubts into my ear, taunting me with the prospect of losing everything I held dear. It felt like I was caught in a web of my own making, each strand tightening as my lies threatened to ensnare me. All I could think was, shit. Then, a glimmer of madness struck me. I suggested, what if someone is sabotaging me? The moment the words escaped my lips, I realized how ludicrous it sounded, but the situation was so surreal that I was ready to entertain the possibility of an elaborate plot against me. The absurdity of my statement hung in the air, almost as if I could see it floating between us like a balloon, deflating slowly with each passing second. I could tell she was trying to process what I had just said, her brow furrowing as she weighed the likelihood of my being the victim of some elaborate conspiracy. It's kinda nice. Maybe you should try it on? Why did I think that was a good idea? Her eyes narrowed, and I swore I could see smoke curling from her ears. The amusement was fading fast, replaced by a fury that set icy tendrils of dread curling around my heart. It was as if the Grim Reaper was standing at my door, polishing his scythe, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The tension in the room thickened. Each breath I took felt like it could shatter the delicate balance between us. I could feel my palms growing sweaty, my heart racing, and every second felt like a lifetime, stretching out in front of me, suffocating me with its weight. I was trapped in a nightmare of my own creation, with no clear path to redemption in sight. The dress, once merely a piece of clothing, had transformed into a monstrous specter that threatened to consume everything I cherished. As I stared at that cursed dress, my mind raced in circles. Had my dryer wormholed into another dimension? Was I in some cosmic joke orchestrated by the universe? I could feel the walls closing in, the air growing thick and suffocating. It was a surreal nightmare playing out in real time, and I was powerless to change the course of events. Each heartbeat echoed in my ears, amplifying my fear. The thought of my wife's reaction played over and over in my mind, spiraling into a dizzying array of what-ifs that only added to my growing sense of panic. I could practically hear the ominous soundtrack playing in the background, heightening the tension and anticipation of what was about to unfold. I was acutely aware of how my life could change in an instant, my once happy home transformed into a battleground of accusations and mistrust. With each passing moment, I could see the amusement drained from her face, replaced by a growing sense of disbelief. It was like watching a sunset turn to night, slow and inevitable. I could see the wheels turning in her head, the questions multiplying, and the laughter slipping away like sand through my fingers. Just when I thought I might faint from the sheer weight of the moment, a flash of clarity struck like lightning. Wait a minute, Was it with that skirt my mom gave you? Her expression shifted, suspicion morphed into relief as she pulled out her phone, a lifeline in this storm. I could see the tension in her shoulders ease just slightly, but I wasn't ready to breathe easy yet. My heart raced as she began scrolling through her messages, and I silently begged the universe for this to work out in my favor. As she flicked through the photos, the silence in the room became almost unbearable. Each swipe felt like an eternity, and I could almost hear the clock ticking louder, mocking me as I stood there, waiting. What if this was all a cruel trick? What if it wasn't there? The weight of uncertainty pressed down on me, squeezing the breath from my lungs. My mind danced with scenarios. What if this dress wasn't from my mom? What if I had unknowingly opened a Pandora's box of chaos and betrayal? Then, as if in slow motion, she finally stopped and squinted at the screen. There it was, a picture of the very dress in question, nestled among the items of clothing my mom had passed along to her. My heart leaped in my chest, and a flood of relief washed over me like a wave crashing on the shore. W.O. It's from your mom's pile.